Welcome to our next adventure with Chemology 411, a podcast about anything and everything. Kim and her guests will take you behind the scenes, behind the story, or behind the bar. So sit back. Make sure your seatbelt is fastened, tray table in its upright position, all carry-ons stored under the seats. But for this adventure, electronic devices must remain on, as we are ready to take off on our next adventure. Introducing Kim Schultz and Chemology 411.
Welcome to Chemology 411, episode 10. Tonight we're going to talk pretty much just about Thanksgiving then and now. How it kind of is different when you're 5, 10, 16, and 50-something. I am Kim Schultz, and I'm your adventure coordinator for this show. Let's say hi to my co-host, Tyson Harley.
You got any turkey?
Ew.
Okay, I guess that'll come up. So, what about pumpkin pie or banana bread or peanut clusters?
Ooh, peanut clusters, that's a Christmas thing.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that later. But I just wondered, it's so close, maybe you had some stuff sitting around.
No, I did finish. My friend Tom, his brother owns a restaurant and a pie company in Wisconsin. So he left a week before Thanksgiving and went, and I think he said he delivered close to 6,000 pies just for in his truck. So we're talking thousands of pies for like the quick trips in the grocery stores and different restaurants. And this weekend, we were going to talk about it when I was down there helping him. He had an entire refrigerator full of pie.
And when he left, what percentage do you have left?
I took about a half of a pie.
Man, I read that.
Yeah, and I shared a piece
Did
with...
you say, just half the pie? See, I would have taken half of the refrigerator's capacity of pies.
Well, he got them for people that he works with. So some of them were like going towards people, but I did get some cherry, and he has a cream cheese raspberry that I just finished up today. So
we were talking about last time, cheesecake.
Cheesecake. Oh.
So let's do my little small talk out of the way.
Yeah,
let's
what's
get out
going
of the way.
on?
Interestingly, I guess we're going to talk a little bit about maybe how our shopping went a little later, so I won't get into that. But I actually watched 3 movies yesterday.
Whoa.
This is actually related to my black shopping success or lack thereof, which we'll get into.
Right.
So I never really watch movies. And when is the last time you saw Sin City? Dark City.
Never.
You need to go get it. It has Kiefer Sutherland. It's almost like a mechanical Matrix. So think how Matrix was more computer age, and so of course the world, like, is this really reality? Is computer based? And this is kind of just barely predates where we were just so into computers or everything. And it's more like a mechanical that, and it's got the guy from Riff Raff, the guy who played Riff Raff on Rocky Horror. Not kidding. So it's called Dark City. Kiefer Sutherland and a bunch of other people. Very interesting movie. And I also saw The Gift, which is Jason Bateman, and it's kind of a psychological thriller with Joel Edgerton. And it's one of those things where there's a real successful couple, and all of a sudden, a classmate from decades ago shows up, and before you know it, he's around here all the time. You're like, what is going on with this dude? Is he a creeper? Anyway, at first it's like, why are you still letting this creeper around? But then later on it complicates, and it's more than you think.
Right.
So that's called The Gift. And then I finally watched Drive with what's his face at
Gosling.
Yeah, with
Ryan
Gosling doing his just staring in the woman's eyes. So anyway, that has a heck of a cast. I didn't realize that. It had Bryan Cranston, and then also Perlman, Ron Perlman, and some other folks too, like Albert Brooks.
Nice.
So I watched 3 in a row. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, and can I make a quick correction from when we were talking the other day?
Sure.
Remember I found the article in one of our podcasts, the last one or the one before, about how there was an article, and it was in a pretty good source, like The Atlantic or something, about how it said something to the effect of, in Western Europe, even Christians are more secular than the atheists are over in America. See, the idea was that it was more an ethnic identity over there, which makes sense. I know when you were growing up, were you confused by the idea that people were fighting over Catholicism in Northern Ireland?
Yeah, no.
You're like, what? Why would you do that? Why would you argue over Catholicism? Who cares, right?
Right.
It's more their ethnic identity over there. Anyway, that article said that, then even atheists over here are, quote, more religious than a good portion of the Christians over in Western Europe. And the terminology was weird. Like, when I heard it, I thought it seemed kind of weird, but it was the Atlantic, so I thought I must have the terminology mixed around. Because they use the term atheism, and more technically, that's like, no, it's more likely that you specifically believe there is no God, versus agnosticism, which is more like, there may be one, but I don't know his or her nature.
Right.
Right, and I just wanted to correct that. The atheism thing was in the article. I felt kind of weird, and then I was telling it to my sister during vacation, looked it up, and she thought the same thing, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of wondered about that. So they kind of switched the terms incorrectly, even in the article itself. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, atheism versus agnosticism. Just wanted to bring up that correction, because probably some of you guys are going, don't you know the difference? It's like, well, I knew there was a difference, but then it's the Atlantic. So I was like, they probably got it right, and I must have just switched it around in my head. So anyway, quick correction on that.
Oh.
And other than that, we can go on. I haven't done a lot that we won't talk about later, as far as Thanksgiving and Black Friday and things like that.
Good stuff like that. Well, I was blessed to get sick.
Blessed in, how's that?
Well, first of all, I hate getting sick, but you're going to get sick. I mean, I'm going to get sick at least one time during the year. And I started getting sick before I left for Dallas. So I drugged up in October because it was Kimtober and there's so much stuff going on. So I was taking my my Zicam and all this stuff. And I think I just kind of tabled it for a little bit. Then I went to Dallas and then I had to come back and then I went on the bus trip. And then I got back from the bus trip and it was like Wednesday. I was just like, I'm not feeling it. Like, I'm just, and I think I could have fought it. And I thought, you know what, Kim, you got nothing going on this weekend. It's not Thanksgiving weekend. It's just basically a weekend that you were going to just go out and do random things. Why not just take a sick weekend? And man, my throat swelled and I was sneezing and coughing and it started out with
accidentally
allergies.
Gave your body permission or something.
I did. And it was so enjoyable. I just laid in bed and I was watching TV and then I'd slowly move to the chair and I'd watch more TV. And then I'd be like, I need to do, I'm sick.
Podcast inside joke, by the way. Speaking of hanging around and watching TV, of course, what was on when I came down to the studio?
A little Hallmark
Christmas movie.
Yeah, and I can tell you what it's about, but it's the same.
Yeah, but then she heard me
show.
Snore, so I guess anyway, I'm just kidding about that.
But no, I did get to watch some TV and catch up and I think if you're going to be sick, it's great that you plan it because I guess I was just kind of like, you might as well, because if I think it was going to happen, and if I would have pushed it off, it could have happened on Thanksgiving. If I'd have pushed it off, then I'm in December with Christmas. So, it's just kind of like... got it out
of the way before Thanksgiving?
I was like, take me down. And it did. I mean, I wasn't like on my deathbed. I still could have done stuff, but...
You just did massive rest.
I didn't have to because I was like, I don't have to do anything. I'm done with my work. I mean, I still had to do payrolls and all that kind of stuff, but I had to slowly slinker downstairs to my office and then go back upstairs and get out my laptop. And some of the times I can log in from my laptop to my downstairs computer. So then I get real lazy. Like, I have to go all the way down those 12 stairs.
So you were thankful.
I was very thankful. I was actually thankful.
Turn into coughing. Or
yeah, it wasn't.
By the time Thanksgiving rolled around,
I was better.
You felt pretty good.
I was good.
That's good.
And then, so I attempted before you got here. And I spent like 45 minutes because my meeting today got canceled and pushed to next week. So I had an extra day to get to clean my office, which I actually got everything filed and trying to get things organized. And I came across the light bulbs that I bought. And do you have an Alexa or an Echo?
No, not in a million years.
Has this conspiracy. Well, I do in every room. And because I love music. And so when I go in the bathroom, I'm getting ready.
Tell the listeners what I asked Alexa about earlier.
Well, he asked her how to wipe your butt.
No, her to do it.
He asked her to wipe his butt, and she tried to sell me on Amazon Music.
So I don't know if that's a band name or a really
I was gonna say, like,
bad song or what.
Right, I don't know if she understood what you're saying, because I thought she would try to sell you toilet paper. Would you like me to add that to your list? And then I'd have like a case of toilet paper showing up at my house.
No, that's okay, and I'm good. But yeah, but anyway, you have it. You have the technology, so you got an upgrade too.
Tom, when I was down there, gave me one of his light bulbs and says, you have to try this. And so I really don't know where to put these light bulbs. And I have some plugins that I've been getting on my Amazon deals. So they're regular like $24.99, but I can get them for like $3.99 on like coupon with a code. And to me, I'm like, that's awesome, because then I can attach things to it. You can control it by your phone. And because I do travel a lot, I wanted to be able to access some stuff. So I bought those. I have failed on figuring out how to get those to work.
Which ones? You were just doing the light.
Plugins. The plugins. I haven't. I'm gonna have to. I think I lost the instructions, so I'm gonna have to look it up on.
So the lights are just literally going to the light socket in between the socket and the light, or
no?
the
light.
Lights?
It's just a light bulb. It's a light bulb that has Bluetooth in it, actually.
Oh, okay.
And so when I did the light bulb, I goofed up on that too, because I'm reading the instructions, and so I'm in my Alexa and I'm turning it on, and it's blinking, just blinking. The light's blinking. You're trying to read these instructions, and I'm thinking, it's like I cannot find anything. Then I found out I have to get the app for the light bulb. So the light bulb.
Name the bulbs. Label the bulbs.
The brand is Feet Electric, and so you have to download their app. Then once you download their app, then on your phone it finds the light bulb. Then you marry as Amazon with Feet, and then it goes into
F-E-I-T. It looks like.
Yeah, that's the bulbs that I got. This one is multicolored, so if I want to have the whorehouse red light and blinking in my basement, I can have strobe, I can have whatever. I don't know why I need that, but
Roxanne.
Yeah. So so I finally I got that one working, and as I showed you, it does work.
So it's Wi-Fi, or is it
Wi-Fi.
Bluetooth?
It's well, you have to have Wi-Fi to do it. I mean,
because of the smartphone aspect.
Right.
But maybe the signal for the bulb itself goes through Bluetooth.
Who knows? I don't know. I'm not that smart. The bulb is smarter than I am.
The bulb knows.
But I do have one more bulb, and I'm going to put that upstairs. And then I got the little plug-ins to put on my lamps so that I can control them. But the difficult thing is, like you said, why not just flip it on? Considering that you have to remember all these freaking names. Oh yeah,
because what did sarcastic Tyson ask Alexa too? I asked her how she's better than just a light switch.
She goes,
I don't have an answer for that question.
And then my Echo upstairs started talking. So I don't know if she was talking to the Echo going, these people down here are stupid. And my Echo is like, oh girl, I know how dumb they are. I have no clue.
Believe me, I don't even look forward to Wednesdays. Alexa, I heard that.
So, but anyway, but that I was pretty excited about. And my friend Tom, he's the one that... He's the nerd. He's the first one that got the dot. And I'm like, I'm never going to get a dot. And then I got my first dot. And then you become addicted to the dot.
What's the dot? Just
it's the Alexa. It's just the little dot. Like, I've got a show.
The small one. The smaller one?
Okay. Yeah, I've got all sizes.
Right.
So, yeah, look at the third generation and first generation. And I just buy them when they're really, really inexpensive. And so I got a show a while on Amazon days or whatever. So it's got like a screen so you can actually look up menus, like recipes and things on it. So I have that. And his house has light bulbs all over the flipping place. And then he's got his camera outside in his window. You can watch everything. And I haven't got that far yet, but I think I'm going to.
What my solution for that is?
What?
Eyeballs in a window.
Okay.
Check it out, dude. You can see things outside.
Said the introvert that never leaves his house.
Hey, you just barely have to open your curtains. You can still see out the window. Check it out, man. I can see out in my front yard.
That'll be like the kids will be like, what do you mean look out the front window? I can see you on my smartphone. No, if you move that piece of paper, if you move that material out of the way, there's something you can see through outside. What? When did this happen?
I was talking to somebody in my family, and they're in a time period because they're do a job that's seasonal. And I said, "So you growing your hair out, growing your beard," which was funny because he's only 20, so he can't even have a beard yet. And he said, "I realized the other day after I talked to somebody, I hadn't left the house in 3 days." Holy crap! And as to that movie, speaking of windows, real quick, that movie, The Gift, another creepy element it has is there's like this creeper and this couple that's Jason Bateman and this other person. They move to a new place. It's like, upwardly mobile professional, and their new place is all windows, like floor to roof windows. And you're like, so it kind of added to the like, oh, this creeper is going to suddenly just be boom right there. And just like, yeah, In fact, there was a couple scare moments to it where I jumped.
You jumped?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Anyway, that's I know that was a slight aside. So what else about light bulbs or anything?
Well, no, actually, so remember I decluttered my kitchen?
Yes, I actually got the tour. It looked very nice.
Went through everything. And so my friend Tom came for my potluck, and he was like, I'm gonna spend some time. He's the way he cleans is he goes to the closet and he pulls everything out and he puts stuff back in, and then he takes stuff and then he puts it in a different location, and then he goes and he cleans out that other location and then he takes that stuff and puts it back into the closet sometimes. So like it just kind of moves around. And so he goes, I'm going to clean out my pantry. I'm going to declutter my pantry. And I said, no, not without me. I'm going to help. I'm going to come down the weekend after Thanksgiving when you get back from delivering your pies, and I'm going to help you do this pantry. And it's like a little walk-in pantry, so it's not huge, but it's a walk-in, so you could literally stand in it if you cleaned it out. Because if not, there's liquor bottles and there's Gatorade and there's cereal thrown in there. And I have a picture on Facebook, so I could put it in here if people really want to see it. But I took a before picture because I wanted people to see. This took me 8 hours to do. Woo. So I took everything out of the pantry and took a picture. And then he's got these really deep shelves. So I think, like, how long is that? Like, is that a foot?
No, that's about 15 inches probably.
Okay, so he had 2 of those boards were how deep his shelves were, all the way down, and there's like 6 of them. Nice. And so, but they're so far back, you really can't use that back spot. It's just kind of like, it's worse. So I said, well, we're going to go to Lowe's or Walmart, and we're going to try to find some little shelving things. And they're little, they're like little things. Well, we got to Lowe's, and 2 of his shelves are like 22 inches high. And I said, I'm kind of sitting there, and he walked over and he saw these white boards and the inside of his cabinet's white. And he's like, what if we got this board, cut it into the, to the length, and just put in 2 shelves in the back. And so it was half of the depth of the 2 shelves. And I was like, yes. So we bought that board, which was like $13, and we had Lowe's cut it into the 2 parts because we took measurements. Then we went over to the other area and we found the white painted trim that was already there, like a little rectangle part, $2.97. Had them cut it into 1 foot sections. It's 1 foot because it was 1 foot sections. Mm-hmm. So it's 1 foot wide. And we had him cut that. So all he had to do was come home, drill those in, put the shelves in, and that was it. And I had 2 extra shelves to put stuff on.
Yeah.
But the big thing was I told him, I said, we have to go through all the food and we have to get rid of all the expired stuff. And so we're looking through stuff, and I'm like, 2017 trash, 2017 trash. Oh no, that's still good.
No,
that's still good.
They're conservative with that date.
And I was like, anything that's 2019 and newer may stay in this pantry, but anything that's 18 and older, I don't care what you do with it, but it's not coming back into the pantry. Because if it expired in 2017, you bought it in 2015, 2016. So let it go. So we went through it, and he found like 5 things. He goes, that's not that bad. I'm like, we have not gone through. So all of the crackers were expired, all this other stuff. And he's, because when you have shelves that are just, you don't circulate it through.
Yeah.
So anyway, he had a whole big shelf. I put everything back, and then the canned goods, we still had to go to Walmart and get another little riser things to put the cans on. And I have given him strict orders. I was like, nothing's allowed to touch the floor on the outside of the thing. You can be underneath it, but if it doesn't have a shelf. And then he's got spices, this whole wall, his whole door is spices. I pulled them all out and we alphabetized them. Because he's got like 4 or 5 of the same spices that he gets at a local spicery down in Lenexa. So we got everything organized. So that's now good. He has the spices, and it just looks ridiculously amazing.
So yeah, like you said, then if you got some closet, even whether it's food or whatever, sometime, but especially food, I guess, things like that, because you'll be like, I think I still need sugar. Maybe that's not the best example. It's like, no, I actually had some just to know precisely where it was.
Right.
And before you know it, you bought 2 or 3 of the same.
Yeah,
I'll do that with like ibuprofen. Like I won't. Like, I never use ibuprofen, and then I just throw it in some random cabinet, and then on the rare case I do need it, it's like, I don't know where that ibuprofen is, I need to go buy some.
And then you find it, so you thought, I'm going to throw it in this and here's the other 7 bottles.
Actually, I finally found 2 of them at one time.
Oh.
Yeah, and I went to work, and I had this exact same argument, or at least discussion. How old can this be? And my coworkers are like, it probably just only gets weak. Yeah. I'm like, okay, well, that's good because it says like it expired 2017 on it or something like that.
It says 2017.
No, it was earlier than that. It was a lot earlier than that.
Well, we got rid of the 2005 Pam. We figured if you haven't used it since 2005, you're probably not going to use it because Pam, exactly. I don't think stays that long. And then some of the stuff was like hard, and I'm like, this stuff is like a rock. He goes, I can break it apart. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like $2. So anyway, I don't know what he's going to do with it. I'll be back this weekend, and I will investigate the cabinet to make sure.
It'll still be good. Only this.
Nothing got put back in in the pantry. I don't care if you want to keep it on the shelf, put it in a box, eat it, get sick, whatever. But I don't want it back in the pantry because you're just going to shove stuff behind it and then you're never going to use it. So you need to use your food. And I'm guilty of the same thing. I pull things out and I'm like, how are these SpaghettiOs expired? I mean, I just bought them. Well, it's because they're in the back and I keep eating the front. So
yep.
Anyway, and then so that was the big weekend of all the shopping. How much shopping did you get done?
I am the world's best window shopper. And I don't mean going to Lowe's and buying windows. I mean it in the more of an expression because I literally have been wanting to get a computer-ish. I've been wanting-ish for about 4 years. And I have a laptop that I maxed out the memory on probably 6 years ago. This laptop has gone through at least 9 lives. And when I say 9 lives, I mean like it won't start and you got to go to safe mode. But you can pick safe mode with networking. You're like, it's not that much different. So you can still get on you have the display. It's like half the resolution. It's gone through like at least 9 lives where it'd be like, okay, well, I'll just see how long I have to go safe mode with networking. And then like a month later, I'll be like, let me just try to boot it up regular. And it'll boot up. Anyway, it hasn't had any issues lately, but this is like an 8-year-old computer, at least. Or I shouldn't say at least, but around there. It's a pretty old laptop. So I've been wanting to get one. Finally decided, okay, this is the time. Perfect time, Black Friday. Monday night rolls around. Now into Cyber Monday. And then 11:30 rolls around. I put 20 hours worth of kind of looking and considering computers into this because I kind of thought, well, I've always kind of wanted to build my own, and that takes, let's get some components that give me flexibility 8 years from now. You know, I can still be maxing out RAM, and it's still going to be a pretty good computer 8 years from now because I got a big old tower or something like that. Come into into Cyber Monday, I had bought $0. Zero. And that's even going, you know what, maybe I'll just get a TV instead because I've got a fairly old flat screen. And before you know it, those are all be smart. So I'm kind of the opposite of you. It's like, I don't really want my TV to be smart.
Right.
I don't want my TV thinking and things.
Thinking?
Thinking of stuff. So, you know, if I want to hook up, you know, whatever to it, I will. I can just put the Chromecast on the back and then not. And part of me kind of goes, well, you know, before you know it, there won't be any dumb TVs.
Yeah, there won't be
And so
any.
I keep thinking that, and I'm going, so I need to get one. And I was looking at that, and I didn't buy one of those either. And then I'm like, well, whatever. Fine. I'm done. It's 11:45. I'm not going to wait until Pacific time midnight. So I'm done with Cyber Monday. I'm a failure. Who cares? I even got a little bit of the next day. Someone's like, well, that's okay, Tyson, because, you know, it'll be down again, right? The prices will go down a little bit before Christmas, and then maybe right after. I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll continue to scout and get a better idea, and I'll do it then. And then I looked on Newegg, and they extended Black Monday all week. So
now
I'm
do you
like,
feel
well, I
worse
still
that
might
you're
do it. I still might do it, and you can see how much joy is in my face over that. So I got no black. I mean, not for anybody else, and not for me. But I did look a lot.
Right.
I did consider, and I had many things in my cart. You know, where you get, even if you don't even have to sign in, you know, they got like the cookie type technology where you just go back later and your stuff's still in your cart unless you
Yeah,
cleaned
they're
out
not
your
going to
cookies.
let it go. They're not going to let it go.
So I had all kinds of things in my Walmart cart, and my Best Buy cart, and then in my Newegg cart, and PC part picker, and
you virtually reality.
I had, and then I'm like, delete. So confusing. But I do that paralysis of analysis because I don't buy a lot. So when I do, I kind of want, at least in my, I end up going, well, I might as well try to get a little bit better than just average. And a lot of times the Black Friday ones are more like, well, average, but what am I missing by just getting the $500 computer that's now on sale for $350? So you're like, well, do I get the $500 or I get like a $1,200 that was supposed? I've always got a little extra money sitting around.
Right.
So I'm like, I could go grab a $2,000 computer, but it's like, how much more are you getting for? And even then, that would be probably a bit much because I'm not a gamer. And as I said on my personal social media, if I wanted, the only way I'm going to get a tower and everything with LEDs on it,
right,
is if it comes with a deluxe pocket protector as well. Because I may not be cool, but I'm not that nerdy. You know, like, I at least want the idea that a woman might be interested in me, and so I'm thinking that if she comes to my place and sees, like, a decked-out computer,
right,
but maybe I'm totally wrong on that, because there are girl gamers.
Yeah, there are.
So, but, yeah, so that's another thing, too. I, like, kind of want a nice computer, like, LEDs on the tower, really?
Well, I don't
Do I really need something that looks like it's the bottom of my, what do you call it? Not lowrider. Anyway,
I know what you're talking
little street
about,
racer. Like, it's like, I don't really need that. So anyway, yeah, not a lot of success, but many hours put into it.
But I didn't even see any specials. Like, I didn't see any really out of the world specials that, like, you can't get any other day after they take it off and they're like, oh yeah, so now we're going to go ahead and just do our normal sales, which is basically the same. I do have to say that I get my makeup is Physicians Formula. And they started out, they were like, Black Friday specials, 40% off. And Chelsea was like, hold out, Mom, just hold out because they're going to go 50%. And on Monday, they went Cyber Monday, 50% off. So I was able to get $100 worth of makeup for like $48, which is a really good deal because it's my Estee Lauder base is about $50 just by itself. This was 7 different things I got for $49, including some base that I'm going to try because I'm allergic to all different kinds of makeup. So I really have to kind of pay attention. So on Black Friday, they were like 40% off. So all these people bought 40% off. But then on Cyber Monday, it was only 24 hours. You could get 50% off and then it went off the deal. So you really kind of have to know what you're doing. And they had TVs, Amazon, there wasn't any specials until that day where they started doing like specials every hour.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I wouldn't be looking every hour. I'd be like, well,
The only thing that I saw that I thought about getting was like a power strip. It started at 2:30 a.m. and then it ran for like 6 hours. I'm not waking up at 2:30 a.m. to buy a flippin' power strip. So I put things on like watch lists, but by the time I woke up, they were gone because they were going
I saw
through.
that
Was
they have
weird.
the watch list option on some
weird.
things. But that's the thing about buying something that you don't usually buy either. You're like, so prices vary so widely that you're not even sure what's a good deal. I mean, they can say it's 40%, but that could be off manufacturer's suggested from 2 years ago, or
Right.
whoever charges the most. That doesn't mean that everybody else doesn't charge basically, only 2/3 that price. So you're really not getting 30% off. It's more
No.
like 20% or 15 or 10.
They're still making
that's a lot
money.
of complications on that.
Yeah, they're still making money on that stuff.
Yeah.
So I did, however, go to Duluth Trading because Tom had to return some pants and exchange his shirt, and I found a fleece-lined flannel shirt that is so warm.
I didn't know they had brick and mortar. Oh, or do you just went?
Duluth Trading, yeah, it's over off Highway 70 in like Lee Summit or something. Yeah,
I just see the commercials. For some reason, I guess I never put much thought to it. I'm like, the funny commercials kind of.
well,
They definitely are branding a certain way.
well, I love the clothes in there because I'm kind of, like trying to be the hip country girl. But they were like 25% off, and I was like, I'm not getting it. This is an $80 shirt. I'm not spending it on it. It's like a jacket. And he was like, no, it's 50% off because it's Black Friday weekend. They had an additional 25% off, and I'm like, are you sure? So he looked it up on his phone, and sure enough, it was. So I did get that shirt. And then there was one shirt on Amazon that was on my little special group that I'm in. It was a $49 shirt. It's like a pullover with a hood, and it was $6. I was like, a score. So I already got that one in there. And that's about it. I got a smart plug, which was you had to order it on your Alexa. And so I was in Kansas City, and I was able to pull up my phone and talk to my Alexa through my phone, and she ordered it for me.
That's weird.
Isn't it weird?
Why would you have to order it through your Alexa?
Because they...
Oh, she scared me.
She's like, quit talking about me. I'm in the room. But
I've
no,
been jumpy lately.
It's more to the fact I don't even have big windows. It's more to the fact that they want you to buy it because it's the only way you could get the deal is if you had one. And it's a smart plug, a $24 smart plug for $4.99.
Wow.
So anyway, that's my Cyber Monday. But the big thing was Thanksgiving. I'm glad it's over. We had a great, my mom always cooks all the food and stuff like that, but our family, we own a business and we get together, and it always ends up being a business discussion, and this one just got out of control.
Business discussion.
Ooh,
Ooh, that reminds me that what have I said on other episodes? That the Moody's, and I'm wondering if it's going to be any good. About the family kind of getting together and Dennis, what's his face?
Ooh, yeah,
that
yeah.
3-night thing. That's going to be coming up soon. It might even be tonight. It seems like at 5th, 6th, 7th sounded more like it, but it was like the first week in December. I say tonight when we're recording this. If you're hearing this, I think you probably missed it because I think it's the first
Yeah,
week.
you missed it. It's over.
I think so. Yeah, you can let us know how it was if you watched it.
Right.
I'm not much on really watching any event TV. I mean, outside of sports. So that caught my attention, but whether I'll actually watch it, I don't know. It's like I've told a lot of people because I think they might like it. Then they can tell me because if it does well, it's going to be when you're investing 3 nights for a Christmas thing. Part of Fox's idea is roll the dice and see if people like it. If so, that becomes part of your Christmas programming every year,
Right.
and maybe it becomes a big thing.
Yeah,
if
it
they
could
did
be.
well with it.
Yeah.
So Anyway, that just
yeah.
reminded me of you saying family dynamics at Thanksgiving.
yeah.
So continue.
So our family dynamics are strong. And so my mom's septic tank is collapsing. And so in her
Is
backyard...
this an expression?
In her backyard is this
Still
huge,
an expression?
giant square hole that looks like a coffin could fit in it. And I took a picture and I said, pre-planning for a Schultz gathering, which one of us will you not see next week? And it was almost Chris. But Frank gave me the free underground home for talking too much or something. But yeah, so that's all we did. We just had a typical Schultz Thanksgiving, immediate family. We don't do anything anymore. You went to?
So you're talking about differences between, or it mentioned before the show, differences between growing up and now. And growing up, I feel like we had some people over sometimes, but for the most part, it was just direct family, because we didn't live growing up near where the base of the family lived. Like most of the family are from Kansas City area, and we lived up in Iowa growing up. So,
okay.
It's really that now we moved down to Southeast Kansas. A lot of people from our family are down there. It's a humongous Thanksgiving, and it's almost more memorable in a way. Like, I have a hard time remembering really much of what we did for Thanksgiving growing up. But the tradition since I've been out of the service, and the family has grown and grown and grown, except for one branch. That's me, at least as far as, it's like a humongous gathering. So it's kind of interesting that way. And my mom and my aunt, they make a lot of stuff, like peanut clusters.
Oh, I love peanut clusters.
And she does, she really makes them really good too. And fudge. This year, she already has a good fudge recipe. This year, she tells a story before we even have it. She's like, I put some marshmallows in those fudge, and you know what? I accidentally didn't realize they had a bigger container at the store. So I used a whole container. I realized, oops, that's the wrong size. And then I made another batch. The batch with the extra marshmallows was delicious. It was, I love the fudge all the time, but
right.
You could even see it was a little different because it's lighter, and you're like, ooh, that is great. So, the good thing was I usually stay there all weekend, and I couldn't this year. My sister used to be a teacher, and so they have a lot of time off around those, because of the kids have the time off too. And she's not a teacher right now, so in her current situation, she couldn't be gone all 4 days. So we drive down there and had to come back. So I ate, 2 days less worth of way too much food,
right?
Because I got back, but I still have plenty of pumpkin pie, and she makes pecan pie. Mm-hmm. We never had the tradition of sweet potato pie. I don't know if that's an ethnic thing or a Southern thing or both.
Right.
But I can't imagine. Did I say sweet potato? I meant to say
sweet potato. Yeah.
I can't imagine it tastes a lot different. It's got to be pretty similar, I think. But.
When my mom makes pumpkin pie, she mixes sweet potato and pumpkin together. It is basically kind of the same because you're using the same spices. Pumpkin pie is more like the nutmeg and the allspice and the cinnamon, and it's the spices that actually give the pumpkin a lot of flavor. So same with the sweet potatoes.
So a lot of ham, some casserole. I said this last time, I like ham, at least on Thanksgiving Day, better than turkey. I'll eat more of the ham. We always have a lot of ham. Now, I love turkey as leftover turkey sandwiches. Put some turkeys on there and love that. But on the day, I'll just as soon eat ham as turkey.
No, we just have turkey. Because it's such a small, it's just small. It's just one, two, there's 3, 4, there's 6 of us. That's it. And 7, because my aunt comes over now. She moved from California. And so my mom makes turkey. My brother makes the most amazing garlic mashed potatoes. And she made some new green beans this year that had some almonds and stuff in it. Corn, stuffing, sweet potatoes.
I'm not big on stuffing, but I'm okay with it. I'll eat it, but I'm not big on it.
Oh, I love it all. It's just that
you say carb. We don't usually have sweet potatoes.
We have sweet potatoes. Yeah, I do sweet. My mom makes sweet potatoes. Funny story. From when we were younger, Okay, so my mom there's 7 kids in her family. And so for Christmas and for other holidays, Easter, we would always go up to my grandma's house in St. Benedict, Kansas, which is out in the middle of nowhere because they were farmers.
How far from north? Yeah, how far from here? Like, how long of a drive for the family?
It used to take about, because of the highway was only 50 miles an hour, it'd be an hour and 45-minute drive or so, but now it's about an hour and 10 because it's 70 miles an hour, 75. You have to go to Holton and then go back around to Seneca. But anyway, we would go there with all my cousins and stuff. But for Thanksgiving was a holiday that everybody, all the siblings, would go to the other side of the family. So like my aunt and uncles would go to their husband's or their wife's house for that holiday. And so we would go to my dad's side in Ohio some of the Thanksgivings, or my mom would do a big Thanksgiving at the house. So when we were littler, we would take the train because my dad worked at Santa Fe. So we might take the train down to Ohio, which was always fun. Or we'd get down there, we'd drive. And we didn't never fly. We would drive.
Ohio's no small distance from
No, it's not. But we would leave at 3 o'clock in the morning and we would just drive. I mean, because my dad always drove. But what I remember being down there is we would go over to my dad's aunt's house and they would prepare all the food there, and these people that I really didn't know would show up because we weren't there, but like every 3 years we'd see these people. And then we'd go over to my uncle's house, which they didn't get along with that side of the family. They all lived down there, but evidently there was like some controversy between the whole
far
thing.
enough removed that you don't. You guys don't consider that,
right?
Okay.
So we would go over to their house. And I remember one year we got like 14 inches of snow. So we were stranded there for like a week. So we missed school. And there's nothing going on in Kansas, but we couldn't leave. So we were stuck down there for quite some time with all the snow. But they do have better snow removal than we have here because they're so used to getting more snow. So it did get cleaned up. And the only reason we were out a week is because it was like 3 extra days. But then we had to drive home. So we had that. But when we had the gatherings in Topeka, my mom and dad were square dancers. And so a lot of times they would invite the square dancers over for Thanksgiving so we could have 40 people at the house.
So you kind of done the opposite of what I had. You got bigger gatherings,
correct.
Younger, and then smaller now.
Yeah, and they'd bring their kids over, and then Frank and I would be the bosses, and we'd go down in the basement. We had a full basement. And we've always had, stereo equipment and microphones to sing and stuff. And we'd all sit down and we'd write out our Pilgrim and Indian play. And then we would pull out all the paper and we'd make backdrops and we would color, everything. And we would go to all of our costumes because we always had stuff to dress up with. And we'd make costumes and make paper Indian things. And then we would go upstairs and we'd tell everybody, okay, the show's going to start at 4:30. You can come down and get your tickets at 4:15. And so that we'd charge them to come downstairs, and we'd have seats, all the chairs lined up, and they'd have to bring the tables from upstairs, the chairs upstairs, and then they would pay to watch our show, and we'd have a concession stand for intermission, so we'd sell them popcorn and pop. We're entrepreneurs, even as children, and we would have so much fun. But one year, we're talking about sweet potatoes. My mom had a double oven. And she made this huge pan of sweet potatoes. Everybody eats. The whole party goes. We go downstairs. We watch our great production. And my mom goes upstairs and she's cleaning things out. And all of a sudden she goes, oh no. And she opens the oven. And in the warmer was all the sweet potatoes. Oh. No one had eaten the sweet potatoes. And she was like, no, everyone is going to get a plate.
Just the warmer.
It was just in the warmer. They were still whatever, but she had turned it off and turned on the warmer and then totally didn't pull them out. And so we always talk about, so every year it's always, Mom, you got the sweet potatoes? Yeah. And it's just kind of like how you carry those little jokes over. Yeah. So, Thanksgiving to me when I was younger was more exciting because there's more people. And now it's just kind of oh, hi, I see you all the time. We're just going to have a big meal and make mom cook a lot. And then it is kind of funny because my aunt moved here a couple years ago. And for our very first Thanksgiving, she was living at my mom's house until she found her new place. And we ate dinner, well, we ate lunch, and we all went into the other room. We're watching TV, and my aunt comes in. She's like, your mom's doing the dishes. And we're like, yeah. And she's kind of like, are you just going to watch TV? And we're like, yeah. And so I think she thought we were being rude. So she goes in trying to help my mom do the dishes. And all I could hear her go, if you could just let me do this by myself, I would just get done faster. And then she comes in and we're like this.
There you go.
Yeah, that's why we're in here. Because she's got a way of doing it. And no matter what you do is not going to be right. And you're just going to be in her way. She's going to do it clean, doop, 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 doop. And, it's 15, 20 minutes. If not, she's going to have to tell you what to do. She doesn't like that. She has to do that at the restaurant all the time. So this year, after we all got done eating, I walked over to her and I said, Mother, I just want to let you know that I would offer to help you do dishes, but I understand that you like to do them by yourself. And I'm just saying this because if you've changed your mind, she goes, I haven't changed my mind. So we just leave the kitchen.
As long as I've remembered, but just in case.
So we just leave. We just leave.
But the dynamics are weird when, like you said, when you go on that trip. It's the same thing for me now because, it's just like I haven't talked to most of the people, and then they've got their own thing, and there's only we don't have. I got some cousins, but the rest of the people are different ages and different parts of their life, and it's like everybody comes in just kind of any old time, and before you know it, we got 35 people in there, and it's like you're not even sure as an introvert who to say hi to. Like what that room needs is a Kim, probably.
Right. Yes.
Just kind of reintroduce everybody and get the conversation started.
Right.
Because it's probably about as introverted as I feel. Like if just a few people come over at a time, and especially it depends on the person, obviously, because if they're kind of drawn in, that I don't necessarily draw them out because it's not my. It's literally not physically my place.
Right.
I didn't invite them. So let alone when there's like, so I kind of sit over in the corner, watch football, try to, pipe up with a couple things here and there, but I don't even necessarily talk very much for 4 hours. It's weird. There's never in my life is there that many people that close to me at any given time, short of if I went to a concert. It's like,
it would be interesting to talk to your family to see like how they look at it, like how it's perceived, because like I've got a couple cousins that just kind of sit over in the corner. They're just kind of like, and they're always just watching. They're just watching. And of course, I'm just going to go over and talk. And when you go over, they're fine, but they just really just kind of, and they're the ones who live out on the farm. They're just kind of out there by themselves, and they've got their friends and all that kind of stuff. But it does take a little bit more to warm up. But I think when I was 10 or 11, I saw my cousins more often. So when you saw them, you were like, let's go outside and play. And now, because you lived on the farm, but now, I don't know how I don't know how families are. Like, I don't know if people get together, or I don't have a clue because we don't do it anymore. Our Christmases are the same thing. We don't have that big family. I've got my daughter. None of us have spouses, so it's not like, we even bring them into the picture. My brothers will never have children because they don't like them. And it's just weird to me. I just really enjoyed. It's just why I don't really celebrate holidays anymore. They're just not the same. It's kind of like, oh, great, it's another holiday to get together. And I like the fact of getting and going and eating turkey and all that kind of stuff. But it seems like it just happened like 3 months ago. That's how fast it's already Thanksgiving.
Well, another aspect to it too, which I find it cringeworthy when movies have scenes where it's like, oh no, we're taking my wife to the business dinner and all dressed up, and hey, hello Bob, how are you doing? And just like that social like air of, oh, look at how successful we are, and dressing it. It's just a turnoff to me. And so sometimes even gatherings are. in a way. And I don't mean to my family gatherings, but
Right.
it's just like, it's this weird, sometimes it's this weird feeling. Like, I remember being a kid or being a young adult and realizing, more like a young adult, one of the things that kind of made me squirm is the idea, just think of this sound of plates and silverware click-clacking with no conversation going on.
Right.
It's almost like a flashback of like some awful where things aren't going well.
Right. They're
during
all
the
just
family,
pouting and they're just
and
eating.
no one's talking. Like, just that audio can kind of almost have you know, an obvious effect on me. Like, ugh, I just don't like. Did you see August Osage County?
Yes.
Anyway, it has. We've discussed it before, actually. It has one of those dinner scenes,
Right.
and like I said, because we mentioned that the Moonies, that's the idea. People come home and things get weird. You know, people come home, you see only once in a while, and who's this guy that she brought home this time? Is he a loser, or is he anywhere near as cool as he thinks he is? And who's this guy? He's quiet. And who's this girl? You know, wasn't she here with the other dude just like 2 years ago? Is that the same girl? What's her name?
Well,
You know, that type of thing. You know, it's just the family dynamics are. But I'm not complaining at all about my Thanksgiving.
Right.
Now I've kind of just branched off into
Right.
the interesting thing that is family dynamics at these types of gatherings and holidays and things.
And see, I'm the talker, so you would never be at a table where everything was clinking and clanging and just food was happening, because I can't handle the not talking part. So it'd be clink, 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 and I'd be like, okay, so I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we're going to talk about something because we cannot have this quiet. And so I've got to have that. I think I have to have the energy of the conversation. So you don't like the quiet part of the clinky clanky because that's kind of nervousing to you. But you also don't want the talking part.
No, I'm okay
or
with talking in
the
small
talking.
groups if somebody gets going, but when it's a really large group, you're like, you ever feel like you were wondering whether what you're going to say is going to be seen as like worthy? You
No,
know?
because nothing I say is worthy, and I talk a lot.
You're like, well, in my little group, I'd know exactly what to say to be witty and funny, and it would fit right in. But this is not my little group. And it's like, well, that person works construction. I don't work construction, or whatever, right?
Right.
Like, I talk to this person, like, I'm not sure I've said 300 words to them in my life. I see them once in a while, but when I do, it's in a group of 30, and I don't feel like I've just literally never started a conversation with them. Maybe we've been, you know, in conversations together with a
Right.
group. You know, it gets awkward. And then you're like, well, what do I even say that's applicable in this situation?
Right. Yeah.
You know?
I get that. I get that as well. There are just some people that I've had a conversation with that I'm like, never again. Like, I don't want that. I don't want the judgy tone. I always, like, if I feel as if they think I'm stupid, like, I'm going to talk more just to annoy them. So really, if you want me to shut up,
You would stop
you
having
know,
that
just
tone.
talk. Yeah, don't have the tone, because I'm like, oh, I'm annoying them. This is going to be fun. So, and I'll just continue to talk, because I can literally talk nonstop about absolutely nothing if I have to. And so, but I'm with for my holidays, I'm with my family. I don't want to talk to them. And all we do is make fun of each other the whole entire time and dog each other. And we just have a really good time doing that. But we see each other. It's not like, oh, great, I haven't seen you for 3 days. You know, it's not like anything. We do like family reunions and stuff like that. I really enjoy seeing my cousins. And so the cousins that I grew up with, and then you've got your cousins that lived out of state. And so when the ones that come out of state, they do kind of stay over by themselves with their you know, their siblings until, you know, like we come over and go, enter into the group
That's
of
what
the
I mean. See,
normal.
if it was my gathering,
right.
I might literally be this nerdy. Like, guys, there's a family tree on the wall just to help you guys remember who everybody is.
Right.
You know, and it's like, if you'd like, I mean, I would, in an ideal world, I would like be like, okay, guys, just go ahead and do it. Grab the name tags. I don't care. Just grab them. You
Right.
know, and just grab the name tags. I don't care. Or even the family tree thing on the wall. I mean, I might do that. Because anything that just, if it was my gathering, because I'm one of those people who, even though I'm not outgoing in a group that I don't know already, if I see two people that I know, I'm the guy who starts that conversation. Because you should do that, right?
Right, right.
Hey, Bob, this is Susie. You know what? Actually, Susie's from Southeast Kansas as well. Bob lived down in Fort Scott for a while. Did you go to Pitt State? And they're like, oh, yeah, I went to Pitt State. And then all of a sudden, Susie's like, oh, yeah, you go to Pittsburgh all the time. And then you get them going. Look at the little, you get those conversation starters. I like doing that, but if it's not my group to try to kind of coordinate, I'm not going to do that. And I don't make my own groups to coordinate. It would just have to be totally by happenstance. Like I'm at some Spirit Mind Body Fair, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? Hey, this is my sister. Then I think of something real quick,
Right.
I know this person through what and what, such and such. Do you remember, did we go to whatever together? Because she was in that play. Do you remember her? Something like that.
Right.
Where you give them a little something to maybe help remember in their head this person, or at least be more excited about seeing them instead of going like, hey, how are you? So... but those family gatherings, because it lacks that kind of opportunity, it doesn't lack the opportunity. You would do it.
Yeah, I would do it. Yeah, I would.
But it just feels weird because it's not my gathering, and I'm not like the patron of the family or anything.
Well,
like that.
and I'm more sarcastic and outgoing. So today, when we were doing the podcast, the guy was that I interviewed to show people how to do it and how easy it was, or to show people how it kind of works with how we do two people. He was just like, you just have so much confidence to be able to talk about how awesome you are. I'm just impressed that you are so, you're so into yourself, but not in a bad way. And I was like, it's a joke. Like, it's purely a joke and a conversation starter when I go to a networking meeting, and I'm just like, I'm pretty much an internet superstar. Nobody in the circle, when you're introducing yourself and you have 30 seconds to talk about your business, it's like, hi, my name is Kim and I'm an accountant and I do small business accounting. And people are like, oh, boring. And so then it comes around to me and I'm like, hi, my name is Kim and I am an internet superstar. And if you want to know how to be superstar on the internet, probably want to talk to me. And they're like, and then they don't hear anything else that goes around the circle. And then they come over to me and they're just like, now, how are you a superstar? I go, I made a business card. Pretty easy. Yeah. And I start a conversation with them.
Speaking of which, I haven't listened to the rest of the cheesecake
You haven't listened to Val's yet?
Yeah.
It's up. I haven't got the other excursions up. I'll get those up this week.
Yeah, we had an excursion on a couple of things.
Yeah, we had two of them, but I didn't want to do it last week because of Thanksgiving. I just figured it would get lost, and so that way this week
For those who are listening, notice this is going to be perhaps haphazard and irregular, but part of me, if it was my job, I'd be like always putting up the timestamp outline so you can go find it. So I didn't do it with Tuesdays. The one that just went up here this last Tuesday.
That was books. That was just books.
It was just books. But still, I like putting that stuff up. So you might see that here and there's a little bit more notes.
That's when he does his job. But when he doesn't do his job, I'm just joking.
When I do my no-pay job. I do like doing that, but it's just like,
you're getting a raise in January. I'm going to go ahead and double that.
You're going to double. Man, this is going to be awesome. Anyway, Thanksgiving was great. I'm looking, the great thing about this year, too, is that this 1 week less in between because it was such a late Thanksgiving. Or not. I mean, it depends on you. I mean, both of us, it sounds like a kind of like low commitment Christmases.
Yeah.
So it's like, go visit, and no one gets mad at anybody if they didn't get you know what drives me crazy? A quick aside. Mm-hmm. The perfect couple, like he's 6'2" and the perfect cheekbones and she's blonde. And I call it doesn't even have to be white. It's when I see these like perfect people, I say, oh, they're the master race. They can be black, they can be Hispanic, but just like this master race couple. They got cheekbones, they're tall, they're slender. They look great. And it's some commercial with a master race of whatever ethnicity that is.
Correct.
And they're like, oh, well, I got you something too. And they get like his and hers cars.
Right.
And I just, I didn't run that past or anything, but I got you a $50,000 vehicle as well. And it's red, but I like the red one. Okay, well, I wanted the red one, but okay, I guess I'll have the black one.
Yeah,
it's like, I want to punch you in the face right now. I know that's a little bit, that sounds almost class warfare-ish, but I can't help it. It's like, seriously.
It's like, oh, you shouldn't have. It's like, well, I didn't get you anything but a car. Or
when I got one for me too.
Or it's when they take their kid out and they show you the kid gets a brand new car and you're like, that freaking kid, he's 16 years old, has a nicer car than me.
It's gonna be wrecked.
The
first car always gets wrecked. It's
Yeah.
just hopefully the kid doesn't get too hurt. That's
So
all.
did you see the commercial where the girl gets a new car and she had a station wagon and they gave it to the boy and the boy goes, how am I supposed to drive that?
Yeah.
And they go like, I don't know. You just turn the wheel. I was like, now that's a commercial, because he's looking at this green station wagon. The daughter's got the car. She's in college, and he's like the kid. And I'm thinking, that's kind of how it was with me. It was like, you've got $600 to go buy a car, Kim. And I'm like, I'm going to take this Datsun B210.
All I know is that those of us who have an 8 to 5 and not your glamorous career
No.
are looking forward to the fact that the short weeks are coming sooner than they usually do because of the less gap.
Well, but you have to take vacation this year because...
Yeah, usually what happens in a lot of jobs, if Christmas is Monday or Tuesday or Thursday or Friday, you'll get that adjacent day off.
Yeah.
But this year, it happens on Wednesday. But leap year is next year. So usually what happens, a particular date moves back one day.
Right.
I can't remember if it moves. Let's say if it's a Wednesday, next year would be Thursday, or next year would be Tuesday. I can't remember which way.
It's Tuesday. It was Tuesday last year.
So
Wednesday
it goes one more day late.
Friday.
But because it's leap day, someone told me it's going to be Friday already next year.
Correct.
So we'll get the Thursday, which we would have gotten anyway, I guess. But it's just the 1 year out of like 6.
So you
6
get
years.
1 day off for Christmas.
Yep, just 1 day.
Yeah, because last year it was like 3 days. When we had one of the other people in there, it was like there was more days because we're closed on the days the state are. And I remember sometimes they're just like, we're going to give it, but you guys didn't. Like, how many days did you miss because of snow this year?
So far, like none for snow.
No, for this year, for the 2019, like January and February. Because,
Couple?
I was going to say, this year was like, oh my gosh, it's going to snow. Close the whole state.
Yeah. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Thanksgiving was good. In a way, if my mom hears this, I apologize, Mom. I don't mean anything less by it. But it almost seemed like the weekend was more extended because instead of being at somebody's house for 4 days and you're kind of like, well, what do I do now? It's been 3 days,
Right.
I spent a good amount of time there, but it was just a couple days.
Right.
And then I got home and had a full weekend.
And got to watch movies.
Yeah, so I felt pretty good. I didn't watch those movies till last night. After the tie-in is after I finally said, and I suck at shopping. And I said, it's like, well, I guess I'll just watch movies. Because yesterday was actually, I didn't realize it early Tuesday, but I realized it sometime Tuesday. Oh, I can still shop.
Right.
If I wanted to. And then last night I'm like, and I don't feel like it. Let me just throw in movies. So I watched 3 different movies.
Now, if you want to make some extra cash to buy that computer, Hallmark has it. And I think you have to register by the 6th. But if you watch and do social media for so many of their shows, they'll pay you $1,000.
Guess who's not getting a bloody cent from Hallmark?
My daughter sent that to me. I need to look it up because I'm going to watch them. I've already watched them.
Might as well get credit for it.
I was literally up the other night till like 12:30 and going because I'm just being sick. My whole schedule is messed up, and I was like, "Why are you watching this till 12:30? It's literally going to be on the next 32 days."
You know what? I watch Criminal Minds for no good reason on Ion all the time. So even though I give you guys a hard time because it's fun and it's silly about the Hallmark movies, like I watch series after series, episode after episode after episode.
I'm tired, about to go to sleep. I'm like, no, you have to stay up. Why? I can watch it tomorrow. I can watch it then. Like, it's going to be on 32 more times. And I didn't. I stayed up and then I regretted it.
Hallmark do this trick, which is one of the best tricks ever. And I think a lot of shows go more toward this, but maybe not quite all the way. So a lot of shows now you have the opening minute or two to grab your attention, and then they do the credits. But then what does Ion do, and maybe some other ones? Like, the credits just go into a small box, and the other one starts immediately.
Right.
So is Hallmark and others,
You know what?
That's what gets me with the Ion. It's like, Criminal Minds has started.
Right.
Blue Bloods has started. No,
you know what? It's kind of like this. It's kind of, I think Hallmark is like this. And they kiss. Word. And I'm going to fly off. And the next one starts and you're like,
so they
what?
do that. They do that kind of a thing.
It's not really like in the box, but I don't think the credits, I think it's kind of like same people that were on the other 5 shows.
All right. Well, what are we doing next time? We got any preview for next podcast, or do we know yet?
I don't remember what we're gonna do.
I don't remember neither.
I don't remember.
But yeah, I think this is the last one I saw, but I know you kind of write it in between. So
yeah, and I have a couple different ideas that we were gonna do, and I'm trying. I know that we were going to. I think it's about being positive. I think the next one we're going to talk about, we've got this craze.
I hate being positive. Should I get out my
deputy dog
voice again?
No, it's that there's this big craze in the city that we're living in right now that everybody tries to talk about being positive. And I think that's awesome. But when bad things happen to you and you try to express why when something bad happens and some person comes up and goes, you just need to be positive about it. And you're just like, but they died. Like, I can't be positive about this. Or, we had to sue the city and we got screwed over. You just can't be positive. And so I think we're going to talk about what that actually should mean. Because just when I say that I'm pretty much positive, when people see me, I'm a pretty positive person. It doesn't mean that I don't have negative comments. And we're going to talk about what that means, I think. More about it's okay to bitch and complain and still be a positive person. In my mind. In Kimology.
Or it's a fine line, but yeah, it sounds like an interesting topic.
In Kimology 411, we're going to talk about how it's okay. Now, I'm not going to whine all the time, but I'm not going to be nice to everybody. And like this, oh, you just screwed me over? Well, that's okay.
I'll be on time next week, okay? There's no on time. That's what's great about this.
Okay. It's like, when are you going to be there? He didn't even get a snack tonight, so he's probably going to go get a snack when he leaves.
I dropped by somewhere right after work, so I already had a subset. I already had a Subway wrap before I came here. That's what took me so long.
So anyway, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for giving us your time and attention.
Tell us how your Thanksgiving went.
Yeah, make sure that you tell us on Kimology 411 how your Thanksgiving went and what do you remember about when you were younger?
Or, the goodies that you enjoy then or now and the dynamics of back then. Because I'll tell you, one other thing, real last minute, is, you remember when you were saying how everybody got together and concentrated and made a little production? Mm-hmm. Now it's like, and smartphones.
Right, yeah. It's kind of like, hey, no, we're playing together. We're on the same app playing our little video game together.
Yeah, but tell us about that. And if you have any thoughts about what we said about our Thanksgiving traditions and impressions and things like that and the dynamics.
Or if you have any funny stories. I like to hear funny stories because Thanksgiving is just one of those holidays that's really has just a lot of spare time. Like, you're not opening gifts. It's just basically a come together and eat thing. There's got to be some stories out there where some crazy things have happened.
Maybe even some food preparation stories or some nightmare, because I know those make family history. Like, you remember what you did to the turkey that one year? Those types of things.
Or back in the party days when I got divorced, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving was always the big bar night. So I was always hungover on Thanksgiving because it was dollar night at Remington's. Everything was $1. So you would go out, I would be trashed, and then have to wake up and be around my family and eat turkey. And it was like for 4 years, it was painful. So yeah, so there's stories out there. Yeah. We would love to hear your stories. Just make sure that when you're commenting in Kimology 411 group, you use episode 10 so we understand. Although when you start talking about Thanksgiving, we will know what you're talking about, but it helps us refer back to that episode. We also appreciate our listeners and are excited that the show is going so awesome. Make sure to comment in our Facebook group, Kimology 411, and if you haven't joined yet, you really should. Thank you, Tyson, for helping make Kimology the show that it is.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. We'll talk to everybody soon, and please make sure to keep going on all of your adventures. Bye-bye.